It's a little bit scary today because I'm in my new place and I've finally moved, and for the first time I think ever during any Wiki weekends recording or anything, I've got a blue screen behind me.
I'm not liking this.
I know.
You're licking my gimmick.
It's a little bit scary because, Carl, I'm just afraid that when I try and do this edit that maybe I'll just disappear.
So if you do that, then I'm going to sue. I'm a nice guy. If you nick my gimmick of, oh no, a part of my body's interacting with a blue screen, that's not legally distinct enough, I'll sue your fucking ass.
Thing is though, Carl,
I'm joking.
It would be very fitting for today's subject if I did turn invisible.
Which is?
Well, that's because we're talking about the Invisible Woman, Susan Storm. I guess, like many people that probably are more modern-ish comic book readers, most of my knowledge about Susan Storm and the Fantastic Four all kind of come from either the 90s animated TV shows or the various quality different movies we've had in live action over the past 20 years.
No!
I need more power to control the storm. More power?
Those Fantastic Four movies aren't great, but they have a certain camp value to them that was obviously not intended when they were made, but can be enjoyed now.
And I'd argue it was intended to a certain extent, especially some of the Johnny Storm moments, right?
Yeah, or the dance scene where his clothes stretch for some reason.
Yeah. There was definitely some level of campiness intended, but it is just that weird thing because, for a long time, Marvel Comics kind of just suffocated anything in the Marvel Comics that Fox owned to try and get them, encourage them to become under Mickey Mouse's rule once again. Yeah,
and Fox heroically resisted until Disney bought them.
Yeah, it just means that for many years in the comics, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four kind of just lingered in this space of not wanting to be as prominent as they probably should be. I mean, the Fantastic Four are the first family of Marvel, or
Marvel's first family, yeah.
Yeah. For a long time, respect has not been put on their names.
And like I said, those movies are fine. I rewatched them, I want to say, Christmas last year. You know what? They hold up better than some of, the Phase 2 Marvel movies, because at least they're watchable. They don't hinge on the fact that you're only watching Thor 2.
Yeah.
It was made as a setup for Avengers, whereas the first Fantastic Four movie was made because they wanted to make a Fantastic Four movie.
You say that. Fan Four stick exists.
Victor, don't do this!
There is no victor. There is only doom.
That does suck, because that has no humour whatsoever. Do you know what? I don't need It's Clobbering Time to be the thing that Benjamin Grimm's dad said as he abused him and his brother. I don't need that to be why he says it's clobbering time.
Oh, God. Yeah, no.
So,
it should be more on the veins of fun and camp rather than depressing as shit.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it necessarily needs to be, but if you're going to make it like that, either lean all the way in or just make a different kind of movie. And I do think Josh Trank, who wrote that, has gone on record as saying the studio killed his movie because they got cold feet at the last possible second and said, make it PG-13. That's why at the end they suddenly wear the Fantastic Four uniforms and start making puns and have the Fantastic Car. It's what?
But then there's also a lot of problems apparently on set with Josh Trank as well, and there's a lot of different stories from different sides of the arguments on the set of that movie that just, I don't really want to side with anyone.
All I'm going to say is it sucks as a movie. I'd much rather watch Chris Evans and Jessica Alba just fucking chewing on the scenery.
You'd much rather watch Fox desperately find an excuse to put Jessica Alba in a bikini.
Why don't you strip down and have 100 people stare at you?
Soup.
What? Oh.
I'm gonna need therapy.
It's it's so unnecessary. That's one part of the movie that I do just cringe at. It's just make the woman immediately naked. It's okay.
Well, that's kind of the joke about her powers, isn't it? Of she's in a very beautiful, attractive lady whose power is turning invisible so no one can see her. And kind of everyone's powers are sort of representative of their personalities to a degree, and it's weirdly enough, handled really well in that never-released Fantastic Four movie Fox made that got killed by Avi Arad, which is on YouTube, so if you can get the clip, it's great, where Reed Richards talks about their powers being representative of who they are. It's like, well, I'm pulling myself in a million different directions at once, so I can stretch. It's like, Johnny, you've always been a hothead, so you've set on fire. Susan, you always feel that your beauty always is more appreciated than your work, so now you can't be seen. And Ben, you're made of rocks. Which he doesn't say. He says something like, you've always wanted to protect people and now you're bulletproof.
Ben, you've always relied too much on brute strength when your intelligence would have sufficed. I think it's made us feel that our worst character defects are in fact our greatest strengths.
I really hope that this opening quote is not representative of the rest of Susan Storm or this wiki. Because
oh no,
it's long, Carl.
Give me this long ass quote. Let's go.
Ooh, well, let's all just build ourselves up to this for a moment. I know that, darling, but I know a lot of other things now. Things I think I've been trying to put aside, to postpone. Something a lot like growing up, perhaps. The Psycho Man did more than twist my emotions. He forced me to look into the deepest corners of my soul. Forced me to confront who I am, what I have become. When we rocketed into the cosmic ray belt, when we gained our powers, we lost something, an innocence, a childlike naivety. For a long time I've tried to go on as if we were the same people we used to be, as if I was still the same, but I'm not. Not after all that has happened to us. Not after what the Psycho Man did to me. There is no invisible girl anymore, Reed. She died when the Psycho Man twisted her soul. From now on, I am the Invisible Woman.
Oh, I forgot they called her Invisible Girl, because he was made in the 60s, right? It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. She's like a 35-year-old woman being called Invisible Girl.
Oh, god damn it.
And that's kind of the joke about the Fantastic Four, right? Of like, what does Reed Richards call himself? Mr. Fantastic! It's like, what a piece of shit.
And like, obviously, like, some people, it either makes sense to their power set, like, for example, maybe not powers is the right word, but Iron Man, he's a man in a fucking iron suit, that makes sense. Spider-Man, he gets bitten by a spider and gains some of its abilities. It's like Mr. Fantastic, it's not a pun on his name, and it's not a pun on his abilities, he's just Reed fucking Richards.
He just calls himself Mr. Fantastic. I think it's like, in one of the films, that it's a joke, because he's really clumsy. Is that she calls him Mr. Fantastic because he's really clumsy and he always thinks I'm going to save the day. It's like, of course you are, Mr. Fantastic. Of course you're going to save the day with your science. And he goes, well, I'm going to fucking cure cancer. Suck on that. And then he does.
And that's the thing, right? It's like most of the versions of Reed Richards actually are that fantastic and smart.
He's like the smartest man in the universe.
So Dr. Susan Sue Richards, or Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman, is an American superpowered adventurer. And that's a weird way to put it. It's like, not a superhero.
Well, I guess, the Fantastic Four aren't really superheroes for a lot of the time they're in the comics, right? 'Cause Reed Richards just invents shit. Susan Storm helps him. Johnny Storm's like a knobhead. And then the Thing just wants to get laid. Like, most of the Thing's comic stories are like him just going on dates and stuff.
Apparently they're not classified as superheroes here, just a superpowered adventurer.
What's the kind of thing they do? They explore the cosmos and the world, and they'll occasionally engage in superheroics.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about the film is like Ben Grimm. Is where he goes back to his old bar in Brooklyn and he's like, for fuck's sake, because he just wants to get himself like some whiskey. And he can't drink out of a fucking glass. It's like, god damn it.
It's okay.
If there's a God, he hates me.
But it says that Sue was a college student before she was exposed to high levels of cosmic radiation when boyfriend and scientist Dr. Reed Richards took her with her younger brother Johnny Storm and pilot Ben Grimm into space on the stolen rocket Marvel 1.
That's a hell of a fucking first date, isn't it? Let's go to fucking space. I give you superpowers.
Do you reckon that's what it was? It's like just his girlfriend at the time, and he's trying real hard to impress her. He's like, you know what? I'm going to steal this rocket and I'm going to take you to space.
That's the thing, Reed Richards, it's all about the science, right? He doesn't care. And that's like the problem as well. Like he risked, like, the love of his life, her closest family member, and his best friend. That's one of the things, like, he always feels so guilty about what he did to the thing. And the thing's like, it's cool, I live forever and I'm bulletproof. It's pretty alright. Also, I'm dating a super hot blind lady who don't give a fuck. Let's go.
Obviously, it depends on the variation in the comic at the time, right? Because
yeah,
a lot of the time, Reed Richards is there, like, trying to help Ben Grimm out. And
I think more recently, Ben Grimm's like, I'm fine with being the Thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, again, I'm bulletproof and I live forever. It's sick.
It's not.
People don't know, like, Ben Grimm doesn't age. He only ages when he's human, and he's only human 1 day a year. So he ages 1 day every 365 days.
He doesn't age as quickly, but he does erode, just slowly over time.
I do wonder if he does. They talk about the fact he does, but, like, it grows back. It's weird, right? The Thing's really weird, but we're not talking about the Thing today.
Who would have thought that a man made of rocks is a little bit weird, Carl?
Is that the best line in that, like, Fantastic Four movie, though, where they're looking at his, like, X-ray and his heart's covered in fucking rocks? It's like, Ben, your heart's covered in rocks. It's like, that's bad. I used to smoke. And it's like, I don't think that matters, mate. It's like, your heart is made of rocks.
Oh, God. If all of his, like, organs and stuff are rock, too, then it's not even like you just need to, shoot a bullet through the rocks to get to his squishy insides or anything.
Yeah.
But, oh, man. It's just all there.
Go get to that juicy Michael Chiklis centre.
And that is one thing talking about, the older movies and stuff like that is that Stan Lee was, like, said that Michael Chiklis as the Thing was one of his favourite castings of all Marvel movies, right?
He's one of the few casting choices that Stanley's like, 100% I'm all in. And Michael Chiklis is widely agreed to be, like, one of the best takes on the character. The only thing that he didn't really get right is he's too short. Ben Grimm's supposed to be, like, really tall. But he in the costume, they did a lot of creative camera work to make him look bigger than he is.
Yeah.
But just, like, the way he played, like, he's the guy made of stone with a heart of gold. Right? That's the thing. Is the heart of the team. He's the nicest guy on there. And I mentioned that scene in the bar. It's a really great just little bit of acting when he goes to his local bar and he just sits on a chair and it fucking breaks.
Yeah.
And he just stands up and he's like, for fuck's sake, I just want to go out. And, like, everyone in the bar knows who he is. It's like, hey, come on, this guy's a fucking hero. He's an astronaut, motherfuckers. It's like, that's what he is. He's just a guy, he's just a working class stiff who happens to, like, be dealt a bad hand and deals with it. And Michael Chiklis really, like, just portrayed that quite well.
Hey, little guy. You're not afraid of me, are you? Perfect.
But going back to Sue Storm here, she's not made of rocks, but the radiation mutated her, which turned her invisible and allowed her to create force fields.
Because it's like she's known as the Invisible Girl, or Invisible Woman. But that really downplays how fucking strong she is, because she's one of the strongest telekinetics in all of Marvel.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to the powers and abilities section in a second, because as far as I'm aware, going invisible is actually one of the lesser impressive feats over time that she accomplishes, but I guess it's just because, like, early on in the comics, her primary ability was probably going invisible, right?
Is that you don't really need to turn invisible when you put a force field around each of your opponent's eyeballs and sever their retinas, which is a thing that she can do. Because remember we talked about Super Skrull, and it's like Super Skrull puts, like, force fields inside people's heads to give them, like, it's like giving blood clots that kill them instantly. And, like, Sue Storm would, like, put force fields around people's heads so they choke to death.
And that's the thing, just remember as well, every time we talk about Sue Storm and what Sue Storm can do, just remember that essentially Sue Storm and Violet from The Incredibles are the same character.
Basically, yeah.
So, like, the powers and abilities, if you can't really think of what Sue Storm can do, but you have watched The Incredibles, Violet is basically just the Invisible Girl, Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
And obviously in The Incredibles, Mr. Fantastic is essentially the same as Helen, who is Elastigirl, right? That's their name. And they're very one-to-one. Dash and Mr. Incredible are a little bit different. But yeah, The Incredibles are essentially just a Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it's probably why you're going to be putting clips in of The Incredibles rather than try down whatever crap clips that exist of Susan Storm in media. Because I'm imagining there's not many fight scenes with her.
I think I only watched the Silver Surfer movie one time, because it wasn't great. But I don't remember there being too many fight scenes between those two movies where Invisible Woman did much.
No, like, the best thing in that entire movie is just where the Silver Surfer just turns around on his surfboard in midair and chokes out Johnny Storm. That's the best thing in the movie, where he's chasing the Silver Surfer and he just teleports behind him and just chokes him out. It's like, fuck you.
Time to end this. Can we talk?
Is it the first movie, right, where they combine all of their powers and it's like they just shut Johnny Storm inside force field to deal with Doctor Doom or something?
Yeah, he says go supernova, because they say, well, technically Johnny Storm can go supernova and he would ignite the Earth's atmosphere. It's like, no, trap him inside a force field.
What happens if just someone distracts the Invisible Woman and she lets go of that force field in that moment?
Everyone dies.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing happens in that cutscene, not a cutscene, the coolest thing that happens in that fight scene is where the Thing just steps on a fire hydrant. And he directs it at Mr. Fantastic and he just curls into a circle, like he goes like a loop-the-loop and throws the water at Doctor Doom to melt him. That's a really neat thing to do. It's actually an interesting application of the powers. I like that little moment, because every member of the Fantastic Four gets they do their thing.
They do, including the Thing. Just before we get to the powers and abilities here, we do, of course, have to go through the potential band names, which is the aliases of the character.
She's got to have some, right? She's been in Marvel for like nigh on half a century. If there's not a good band name here, I'm going to be disappointed.
It doesn't start off very strong with just Captain Universe, and then Invisible Girl, Malice. Malice is not bad. One of the nicknames is Stormy. And then the other aliases are Artemis 5. Okay, Baroness Von Doom, so at some point she marries Doctor Doom.
I imagine she probably didn't marry him. It's Doctor Doom probably kidnapped her and made her his wife to piss off Reed Richards. Because Doctor Doom is like the number one hater in Marvel.
Yeah, and to
Bro's
be fair,
got a degree in hateromics.
I think if I was presented the option of Reed Richards or Doctor Doom, I might go with the Doom.
It's like, how many countries do you own, Reed Richards? It's like,
how many times have you been able to kill the Thing? Because Doctor Doom did do it. Just to piss off Reed Richards one time.
it's one of the funniest things Doctor Doom has ever done, where he cured the Thing, and he held the cure in his hand and said, Reed Richards, I'll give you the cure to cure the Thing, just tell me that you can't figure it out. And Reed Richards is such a petty arsehole, he refused to admit that he can't do it, so the Thing's cure gets thrown away. Doctor Doom's like, I'll do it, just tell me that you can't figure it out, and if you can't figure it out, I'll... And just Reed Richards... In which shows that Reed Richards doesn't actually care about his friend. He cares about trying to solve a problem.
He's all about ego. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if he cared about his friend, he would admit that he couldn't do it.
Do you reckon he just goes, after that, goes back to the Council of Reeds, and he's like, guys, come on. I really need some help. Anyone?
He's like, no, man, the Council of Dooms won't tell us. It's like, God damn it.
And then the rest of Sue Storm's aliases, again, just not great. You got Mrs. Invisible, Mrs. Ryan Lando, Nurse Franklin, and Sue Benjamin. It's like, the Invisible Woman.
All the years she's been in Marvel, she's not had a single cool nickname.
Not one, apparently.
She's not even had like a comic name, like Spectacular Spider-Man or Invincible Iron Man or some shit. She's not even had one of those.
It doesn't say here at the very least. And I guess it's always because the Fantastic Four are always just the Fantastic Four.
But even like the Thing gets a couple. Like Johnny Storm has a few. We're going to look up Johnny Storm now and see if he has any nicknames, just to compare as you go through.
There's one thing that I'm not very familiar with. It says that at one point the host of the Enigma Force, which is where the Captain Universe alias must come from.
Okay.
I'm not very familiar with the Enigma Force, so maybe that's a Wiki Weekends for another day.
It is indeed,
but
yes.
They were also the host of Venom, of course, at some point, and
everyone's the fucking host of Venom, right? Everyone gets Venom. It's so annoying. So yeah, lots of like Johnny Storm, like a couple of Johnny Storm's aliases. He gets like the Cosmic Torch, Firebug, the Hothead. Like not great, but he's got a few, right? Mm-hmm. And then the Thing. He has obviously he has Bashful Benji. Big Orange Stephen Hawking.
What?
Brickman.
Brickman.
The ever-loving blue-eyed thing. The Grim Reaper. Oh, that's good.
Ooh,
The Grim Reaper. Grim, like, with 2 M's.
Almost every single character that we talk about, it's always they've had a symbiote or they've had the Phoenix Force. It's like, okay, but at some point that kind of diminishes the cool factor of having a symbiote.
Yes.
Because it's not individual or cool anymore, it's just that everyone's had one. And I do get it because it just gives you a cool excuse to make a symbiote-looking costume for them, which I am all about that part.
I enjoy. It's just when they had a symbiote for a while. It's like everyone had a fucking symbiote. It's not special anymore.
No.
It makes like the whole fact that Spider-Man had it less special. If like 14 other people have had one as well. But just Joe, in regards to aliases, I thought just so we can know, because we've not had a band name on Wiki Weekends in a while, so I looked up Doctor Dooms and just. Do you want to know a couple of Doctor Dooms so we get some real fucking band names in?
I mean, we have done Doctor Doom, so go check out that video, but let's remind ourselves of some of his band names.
Well, we have the Baron of Iron. The Baron of Iron, the Beast of the Balkans, the Destroyer of Worlds, the Doctor of all Dictators.
Instead, we get Captain Universe.
Yeah.
Invisible Woman.
Oh, it's just so good. Just the Baron of Iron. It's so strong. Oh, tell me about the powers. I want to know what can this lady do? What bullshit has she got?
Well, Carl, I've jumped to the powers and abilities section, and of course we need to go through the power grid of the character. In Marvel, the power grid goes from 1 to 7, where 1 is essentially just that of like an exceptional human, and then 7 is basically like godlike. So, put it in layman's terms. For Sue Storm here, we've got an intelligence of 3, a strength of 2, a speed of 3, durability of 6.
Because that's a force field, right?
I would presume so. An energy projection of 5.
Which is pretty good.
Which is very good. I thought it would have been at least as high as a durability, but anyway, but the fighting skills of 3, which again is pretty impressive.
So it's just the durability of 6 is like as high as it can be without being godlike. That means like you are not getting through her force fields unless you've got like Thor with you or something. And
there is an absolute essay to explain her first power, which is invisibility / light manipulation.
Because they've had to explain how it works, right? Because technically her powers don't work how physics say they should, because if she can turn invisible, the thing about turning invisible is, if I could turn invisible right now, I would instantly turn blind as well. Because my eyes would not be able to like capture the light necessary to see.
The simple explanation here, I'll go through the first couple of sentences, but then it really starts getting into the nitty-gritty of it.
Is it that she just bends light around her? That's normally what they do when they want to do invisibility, right? It's like they bend light around them, which is, I guess that's the thing.
I'll see what happens here when we get into it, so I've not properly read it yet. But the Invisible Woman has the mental ability to manipulate ambient cosmic energy for a variety of effects, including the rendering of herself and other objects invisible, and the construction of solid invisible force fields.
See, that's the scariest part, is that the force fields are nigh unbreakable and invisible.
Yeah.
For the sake of, like, clarity in comic books and film, you can see them. But only we can see them as the audience. Like, the opponent can't see them.
That's the thing, is that's for the viewers' like benefit, right? In universe, they are completely invisible.
Which must be fucking terrifying, right? Because presumably we'll get to the limits of it, but just right away, okay, I've now got an invisible, unbreakable baseball bat I'm going to wail on you with all day, while I'm also invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just getting the fuck kicked out of you by this invisible person you can't see. Or imagine just like you running away from her and just, okay, I'm going to now put an invisible ankle-high railing in front of you.
Because I was thinking, like, trap them in an invisible box, but more infuriating of, like, ankle-high obstacles just appearing out of nowhere.
Joe, total wipeout.
Yeah.
Whenever she's fighting a villain, an invisible total wipeout course appears. And while they're just trying to fight the thing, just that's happening, like Takeshi's Castle's happening behind them.
Oh god, just the skipping stones are there, but they don't realise.
God, tell me about how else would powers work. And as well, I'm guessing cosmic radiation means it's infinite because, yeah.
Of course, yeah. And it says, like, in an as yet unknown manner, cosmic energy interacts with the cells of her entire body in such a way as to produce a new form of energy with unusual properties.
So they can't... A new form of energy, we don't have to explain how it works.
Even though there's, like, a giant paragraph explaining shit.
I always love that. It's my favourite comic logic thing of the writer who wrote this character doesn't know enough about physics or science to want to explain this, so they just say it's a new, as of yet unidentified form of energy we can't explain that does whatever the story needs.
Exactly, yeah. And it says the largest volume she can as yet turn invisible at a single time is approximately 40,000 cubic feet of volume, which is 1133 cubic meters, which is the equivalent to a small swimming pool.
Okay, so the equivalent of a small swimming pool spinning around constantly.
Just completely invisible.
Yeah, that's solid and is durable enough to survive a hit from the Hulk.
While trapped inside the Human Torch's body, Sue was able to make an invisible hole equivalent to the size of the moon on his body, noting she was shrinking in size.
So she must have been like really tiny, trapped inside of him, and the equivalent of something the size of a moon to her tiny self, I imagine, which is terrifying. Because now imagine she does that around the moon and then starts swinging that shit around. Like when Galactus comes a-calling and Susan Storm's like, well, I'm just going to make moon fists, and starts punching him with a fucking moon.
This sounds terrifying, Carl. Sue once tried to bad grammar here. Sue once tried to kill dimensional parasitic bacterias by bending the sunlight away across multiple states of America, depriving them from the heat and light of the sun for 3 days simultaneously, which leads to an accidental mass extinction event.
Oh, so she just made it so the sun didn't shine on America anymore.
The sun just went away.
See, do you know what I'd do if I was Reed Richards? Say, okay, Sue, do that to Latveria. Do you know what, next time like Dr. Doom's in the UN and he's trying to like, yeah, what, give me some fucking diplomatic immunity. It's like, okay, no crops are going to grow in Latveria. Fuck you.
No, but it's no sunlight or heat exists there, so people just die.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Just do that to Latveria.
That's terrifying. Like, an entire just area of the planet that she's like, no, the sun doesn't exist here right now.
That's what Mr. Burns did. Like, blocking out the fucking sun.
She blocked out the sun, but she did it invisibly.
Take one last look at the sun, Springfield.
Imagine that. Just one day the sun just stops shining. You're like, what? You still see it, but there's no light coming from it. It would be weird as fuck.
I mean, to be fair, that's what the UK feels like right now, isn't it? It feels like all hope and light has drifted away.
Keep going. What we got?
So the rest of her abilities here, we have EM spectrums manipulation, which is electromagnetic, I presume. Sue can manipulate electromagnetic spectrums to achieve certain effects, such as invisibility, changing the frequencies of reflected light, disrupting light-based illusions, bending the sunlight, or evading EM spectrum-based sensors. And
yeah, because that's the thing where no one can see her, but I think also because it's electromagnetic energy she can manipulate as well. She just doesn't like during like flying around. You can't see her with radar and shit for some reason. Or,
yeah.
No, and like I think who's the character who can detect like echolocation and stuff? And I think Spider-Man can't detect her. Like even Spider Sense doesn't work on her for some reason. Like she's truly completely invisible.
Presuming as well that like she must fuck around with Magneto's powers as well, right?
What's the thing? She's just invisible. Like she should just be there all the time. I would have her as like always. Every time I'm making a superhero team, I'd always ask her to be there.
Well, Carl, she's in every single team. You just can't see her there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'd say, just on the off chance, because then every villain, you'd be able to make the threat off. Well, okay, we've got the upper hand. Actually, no, Susan Storm's above you. She's invisible and she's holding a dump truck full of bees.
She's
you can't
ready
see it
to stop the sun existing right now.
Yeah, and like, no, she's not. It's like you're going to take that risk.
Yeah, you're really going to call our bluff? So she can make objects transparent by allowing light to pass through objects unimpeded. With this ability, she can turn objects invisible layer by layer, revealing objects behind them.
So she can like see through walls.
But
And
she could
basically
like
X-ray
start
vision.
peeling away layers of walls' visibility.
Oh man, she's gonna do that so like you just see the inside of your own skin. It's like, no, it's terrifying.
Yeah, she could do that, I guess.
Was that really scary thing? It's like, I saw it the other day, I got an X-ray, and I don't know if anyone knew this, but you know there's a skeleton inside you? It's like, fuck! Don't like getting out.
You know what she can also do?
What's that?
She can make your optic nerves invisible. And
Yes, I mentioned this. Like, yeah, so she makes your optic nerve invisible. So she doesn't put a force field around it. She just makes the optic nerve itself invisible, so light no longer detects it.
Yeah, retinas and optic nerves, she can just render invisible to make other people temporarily blind.
Also, that must look terrifying when you look at someone and go, please, I can't see, and their eyes are gone. Because the thing is, I do that. I would not tell people how her powers work. I'd just say, no, Susan Storm makes people's eyes fall out. And I'd say that's her power, and then every villain, I'd make their eyes stop working. Because I won't fucking commit crime. It's like, well, have you heard? It's like eye falling out woman's coming to get her. I was like, fuck that. I don't want to fight her.
That does sound terrifying.
Also, why isn't she doing that all the time to everybody? Because as far as I'm aware, most villains have eyes.
Yeah, she should just enter the battlefield making every enemy blind.
It's like solar flare in Dragon Ball, and it's the single most useful thing anyone ever does, because everyone they fight has eyes.
It's true, yeah.
Like, it works on Cell, it works on Frieza, it works on fucking everybody.
On Boo.
She should just make everyone blind.
What was that?
She can also manipulate the interactions of light waves to seemingly change the colour of objects. For example, altering her hair colour.
Oh, that's a power you want, right?
That is the power that I need right there. She can also turn the Thing entirely pink.
What I do, make him green and say it's the Hulk.
She has such control of the ability that she can simulate third-degree burn injuries by darkening the spectrum of her muscle and blood selectively.
There's that Punisher movie. It's not great, it's the Thomas Jane one, where he's got the guy hung upside down, he's going to torture him, and he pulls out like the glowing red bit of steel. And he says, yeah, here's the thing about when you're burned. You don't actually feel anything at first, because the muscles wither away and burn. Like, at first you don't feel anything, and then it's just cold, and that's your nerves dying. And he puts it on the guy's back, and he starts screaming, and he's just an ice lolly. That's what she should do. With like, okay, what are your powers? Well, I'm going to make you think you're on fire. I'm not on fire. Well, what you do is, you can see your skin burning right now, can't you? Yeah. Well, in about 30 seconds, you're going to feel that, unless you give up.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to make one of your hands fall off and just make your hand invisible. Just changing the colour of people. Do you think Reed Richards isn't grey? She just makes it look grey.
She just gives him the salt and pepper.
Every time he tries to dye it, she makes it look grey. It's like, no.
She obviously has psionic hyperspace force fields.
These must be some bullshit, right? Because I know it used to be like just circles and squares, but what is she making with this bullshit?
While the cells of the Invisible Woman's body produce a certain energy manifestation, the cells of her brain produce different, more potent manifestation, and through concentration, she's able to project an invisible field of psionic force drawn from hyperspace, which she can manipulate into a number of relatively simple forms.
So she's not like making like a gun or something, but it's...
However, it does say a little bit further down that Sue's force field is not a form of matter, is not comprised of particles, atoms, or molecules. Therefore, it is completely unaffected by matter manipulation.
So someone like Molecule Man couldn't really do anything to it. It is just a literal force field. It's not energy, it's nothing you can interact with, but it's there. Which is terrifying.
And it means that it's impossible for intangible/density abilities to pass through the field as well.
So, like, someone who can, say, pass through walls. You can't pass through her force field.
Yeah, because when Sue projects her force field around the Red Ghost while he is in an intangible state, he automatically becomes solid. Like, she can just make ghosts real, Carl.
Which is fucking terrifying. So the thing is, though, imagine that the ghost is coming out, I'm going to fuck you up, I'm a ghost, what are you going to do? And she just makes him solid, and then the thing starts whomping his ass. And the ghost is like, I never expected this.
So the ghost's like, what can you do? I'm literally intangible. And she's like, bet. Okay,
I didn't realise that the thing had Scrappy. Here he goes.
Can it go, Sipes?
thing is, as a ghost as well, imagine just getting fucking clots on the jaw by the thing. That's gotta suck, right?
It also says fully enclosed force fields are able to nullify gravity effects. And she's also able to use projection of her psionic forces to travel through the air. Oh man, that's great. By projecting a basic geometric shape under her feet or surrounding herself in a spherical field and moving it under concentration, she can affect levitation with her force fields. So,
yeah, and she can also use it to fuck up other people's levitation as well, because they can't see it, they can only feel it. She can also stop other people from flying or moving around. It's the bullshit she could do is ridiculous.
Yeah, the fact that she's able to just make a little floor for herself and then think about the floor moving. That's
just the fact that it disables gravity.
Yeah.
A fundamental force of the universe is like, no.
Jesus Christ, she's got even more powers here, such as shockwaves, radar, internal damage, and explosion. So which one do you want me to read of those, Karl?
Okay, what the fuck is, like, a shockwave? Does that, like, projecting, like, waves of force fields at people, right?
Yeah, so she is able to use her force fields as shockwaves, hitting her opponent with a force field capable of hurting titania.
And she's like the giant lady with like super strength. And then internal damage, I imagine she could just make a force field inside someone's body, which must fucking suck.
Yeah, literally, she can render people unconscious or induce more serious physical distress by forming force fields within their bodies.
And I think one of the things that she does is she'll make like a force field inside your lungs so you can't breathe. That's like one of the ones that she likes doing. Because then when you can't breathe, then she can just take it away.
Yeah, Sue states that she can give an instant embolism from 100 yards out, crush windpipes, fill lungs, and drive force spikes through their hearts without blinking.
Again, don't call her the Invisible Girl. Call her fucking Darth Vader. Right?
Like, this is way more terrifying than I was aware.
Okay, what else is she... That's the thing, just the fact that... Hey, you know what really fucking sucks? Your organs being moved around inside your body.
Do you know what sucks even more, Karl?
What's that?
Explosion! By projecting force fields within an object and expanding the field, Sue can cause her target to explode.
See, do you know that? There's a meme about that. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons meme of like, the wizards in Dungeons and Dragons are fucking stupid, casting like lightning bolt and stuff. Mm-hmm. Why not just grab their testicles with psychic telekinetic powers and twist them around? Susan can do that.
Well, it's the whole meme that went around about Ant-Man defeating Thanos, right?
Just jump up his arsehole, yeah?
Yeah, just jump inside of him and then turn into like Giant Man and blow him up. And Sue Storm can just do that from 100 yards away, just in an instant, just thinking about it.
First of all, gross. Secondly, it's much more complicated than that. Allow me to explain.
If only we had the time.
So I'm going to make your dick explode. So what? Let's call a dick exploder. No one's going to mess with that villain. Just use Susan Storm on the dick exploder. What are you going to do? This thing is, though, would you want to fight that superhero team?
It's like, oh, Mr. Fantastic, the Human Torch, the Thing, the Dick Exploder.
I would not mess. And the thing is that all she needs to do is explode one dick, and that's it. That's no crime.
Oh, God, I think that's a great way to end this video. So, thank you all for watching. Give us a like, subscribe, go visit our Patreon, and let us know in the Discord or in the comments just what part of your body you wouldn't want exploded.
All of them.
Like, or if you had to pick one body part to be exploded by Sue Storm, what are you picking?
Well, we always make that joke, right, of like characters don't use their powers in... They have a power that's ostensibly super interesting, they use it in a boring way. Susan Storm does use her powers in an interesting way. It's like, you can create force fields. It's like, if that was in any other... Like Violet in The Incredibles. She admittedly used it in quite an... I like when she makes like the orb.
Yeah.
With Dash. But it's still a fairly simplistic application of what she's able to do.
Yeah.
When Susan Storm's like, no, I'm just going to make the force field inside your testicles.
Now all I have to do is concentrate on that area continuously for the next 8 hours.
Anything that's written in this wiki means that at some point she's shown these powers.
Yes.
Like, at some point, Susan Storm has utilised the ability to explode someone from the inside out. She could make you blind before you even know it's happening as well.
But it's like, it shouldn't even make you blind, it's like just your eyeballs exploded. It's like, oh, fuck, he sucks, right? Shit.
Just explode one eyeball and be like, right, that's it. I can get the rest of you I want to. Right now, all you're getting away with is, one eye's gone and you have to wear an eye patch. You got less depth perception, but do you want me to do that to the rest of your body?
If I was her, I'd just be looking, right, a bird flies past and it just fucking explodes. It's like that.
She should just bring multiple man along.
Yeah, just detonate him.
Every time, just multiple man come on, he's, oh, not again. Really? Just give a demonstration. Alright, just clones himself.
Because all she needs to do is just go on the news and say that.
Yeah. Just public service announcement. If any of you fuck around, you will find out.
Just say there is a completely invisible person who can fly and has the ability to make people's testicles explode.
That's the thing. This is a terrifying power set. Even if you could see it coming, she could just be invisible anywhere at any time.
The fact that when people are fighting they see the Fantastic Four, they don't immediately fucking give up because they don't know if she's there.
They kind of ruin it a little bit because realistically, the thing they should have done is call themselves the Fantastic Three.
Yeah, just don't tell people she's there.
Don't tell anyone who's coming.
Or call yourself the Fantastic 15. Just say you've actually got there's like 12 invisible parts of your team, you just don't see them. That's what I've been doing. The Fantastic 15, let's fucking go.
Let's go, I want to see that movie.
The Fantastic, just 100 of them.
Oh, thank you all for watching.
Cheers, everybody.